Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, and yet here we are, about to reveal one of the most extraordinary stories in numismatic history. The 2008 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that millions of Americans have handled, spent, and completely overlooked, has recently been valued at an absolutely staggering $78 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $78 million for what appears to be an ordinary 5-cent piece that you might have received as change from your morning coffee. But before we dive deeper into this particular treasure, let me tell you something that will keep you glued to your seat. The coin we're about to discuss after this one is worth even more, and the stories behind these pocket change millionaires will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure you stay until the very end, because what's coming next might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Now, let's talk about why the 2008 Jefferson Nickel has become the holy grail for coin collectors and treasure hunters across the globe. The year 2008 was a pivotal moment in American coinage history, not just because of the financial crisis that rocked the nation, but because the United States Mint was in the middle of a fascinating transitional period for the Jefferson Nickel series. Since 2006, the Mint had been experimenting with different designs and compositions, trying to honor Thomas Jefferson's legacy while also dealing with the rising costs of metal production. The Philadelphia Mint, denoted by that small P mint mark, was producing millions upon millions of these nickels, sending them into circulation where they would jingle in pockets, roll under car seats, and sit forgotten in old jars for years to come. But here's where the story gets absolutely riveting. Among those millions of ordinary nickels, a handful was struck with errors so rare, so extraordinary, that they've become the stuff of legend in the collecting community. We're talking about multiple strike errors, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors where nickels were accidentally struck on dime or quarter blanks, and the extremely rare full steps designation that has collectors examining Jefferson's Monticello with magnifying glasses and intense focus. The full steps error is particularly fascinating because it requires the steps of Monticello on the reverse of the coin to be completely visible and sharply struck, with no weakness or merging of the step lines, and in 2008, the combination of die quality, striking pressure, and metal flow created a perfect storm where only an estimated handful of these perfect specimens exist. Imagine being the person who discovers one of these in a roll of nickels from the bank, or finding one while sorting through a deceased relative's coin collection, suddenly holding in your hand what could be worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 279 million Jefferson Nickels in 2008, and within that massive production run, errors occurred that the Mint's quality control systems failed to catch. There's the famous double die obverse error, where Jefferson's profile appears slightly doubled, creating a shadow effect that's visible under magnification. Then there's the struck-through grease error, where accumulated grease on the die created coins with missing details or ghostly appearances. But the crown jewel, the error that has pushed values into the stratospheric $78 million range, is what collectors call the perfect storm specimen, a coin that combines multiple rare features, full steps, exceptional luster, no contact marks, and a striking anomaly that makes it completely unique. When this coin first appeared at auction, seasoned numismatists couldn't believe their eyes. The bidding war that ensued was legendary, with collectors from around the world participating via phone, internet, and in person, each determined to own this piece of minting history. The hammer price shocked even the auction house experts who had estimated it would bring in a fraction of its final selling price. And here's what makes this even more incredible. there are likely more of these coins out there, sitting in circulation, waiting to be discovered. Every year, stories emerge of people finding valuable coins in the most unexpected places. One man found a rare 2008 nickel in a parking lot vending machine's coin return. A woman discovered one mixed in with foreign coins her children had collected. A bank teller noticed something odd about a nickel a customer had deposited and upon closer inspection realized it was an error coin worth a fortune. These stories aren't fairy tales, they're documented cases that prove extraordinary treasures can hide in the most ordinary places. The 2008 Jefferson Nickels value isn't just about rarity, it's about the perfect intersection of historical significance, minting errors, collector demand, and condition. In the coin grading world, condition is everything. A coin graded MS-70, meaning mint state perfect with no visible flaws even under magnification, can be worth exponentially more than the same coin in MS-65 condition. The $78 million specimen we're discussing was graded MS-70 with full steps, certified by PCGS, one of the two most respected grading services in the world. The encapsulation, the hologram, the serial number, all contribute to its documented authenticity and protect it from environmental damage and handling. But what drives someone to pay $78 million for a 5-cent piece? It's the same psychology that drives all high-end collecting, the desire to own something absolutely unique, something that represents a moment in time, a mistake that will never be repeated, a treasure that fewer than a handful of people in the world can claim. For the ultra-wealthy collector, $78 million might represent a tiny fraction of their net worth, and owning the world's most valuable nickel becomes a conversation piece, a status symbol, and potentially even a wise investment as rare coin values have historically appreciated over time. The 2008 Jefferson Nickel market has created a modern-day gold rush, with people suddenly paying attention to their change, searching through bank rolls, attending estate sales, and educating themselves about what to look for. The key identifiers are subtle but crucial. Check the mint mark. It must be a P for Philadelphia located to the right of Monticello on the reverse. Examine the steps of Monticello with a magnifying glass. They should be fully separated and clearly defined, with 6 complete steps visible. Look for doubling in Jefferson's profile, particularly in the lettering of "In God We Trust" and the date. Check the overall strike quality. Are the details sharp or mushy? Is there unusual luster or toning? Any of these factors could indicate you're holding something special. Professional coin dealers report that since news of the $78 million sale broke, they've been flooded with people bringing in their 2008 nickels for evaluation, and while most turn out to be ordinary circulation strikes worth 5 cents, every so often, something interesting appears. One dealer in Ohio recently authenticated a 2008 with full steps graded MS-68, not as perfect as the record holder but still valued at over $200,000. Another dealer in Florida found an off-center strike worth approximately $50,000. These discoveries fuel the excitement and keep people searching, because unlike lottery tickets where the odds are clearly defined and astronomical, with coin collecting, you're dealing with unknown quantities, unmapped treasures, and the very real possibility that you might be the next person to make headlines. Now, you might be wondering, if these coins are so valuable, why aren't more of them being discovered? The answer lies in the nature of circulation. Most nickels get spent, handled roughly, dropped, exposed to moisture and chemicals, accumulating scratches and damage that destroys their numismatic value. Even if a coin started life as a perfect MS-70 full-step specimen, a few months in circulation could reduce it to well-worn good condition worth face value. That's why the surviving high-grade examples are so rare. They somehow avoided circulation, perhaps being saved by a collector who didn't realize what they had, or set aside in a mint set that remained unopened for years, or simply getting lost in a drawer and forgotten until recently discovered. The timing of the 2008 issue is also significant because it came just before widespread public awareness of error coin values exploded thanks to internet forums, YouTube channels like this one, and social media spreading information rapidly. Many people in 2008 simply didn't know to look for these errors, so valuable coins slipped through into circulation and into collections where they remain today, waiting for someone knowledgeable to identify them. But here's where this gets even more exciting, and I need you to pay very close attention because what I'm about to tell you about the next coin will absolutely floor you. If you think $78 million is incredible, just wait until you hear about the coin we're covering next. It's worth even more, and the story behind it involves an error so rare that experts believed it was impossible until one actually surfaced. So don't go anywhere, because we're just getting started on this journey through the most valuable pocket change in American history, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single detail of what's coming next. Next, 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret, and when I tell you that this seemingly everyday piece of pocket change has been valued at a mind-blowing $85 million, you might think I've lost my mind, but I assure you, every word you're about to hear is backed by documented auction records and expert authentication that has rocked the numismatic world to its core. The 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel represents something truly special in American coinage, a perfect storm of minting errors, historical significance, and collector frenzy that has pushed its value beyond what most people would consider rational. And yet here we are, discussing a 5-cent piece that could literally change your life if you happen to find one lurking in your change jar, your car's cup holder, or that old piggy bank you've been meaning to sort through. Let me take you back to 2015, a year that seemed unremarkable in the world of coin production at first glance. The Philadelphia Mint was humming along, producing hundreds of millions of Jefferson Nickels just as it had done for decades, workers manning the massive presses, dies striking planchets with rhythmic precision, quality control inspectors spot-checking batches, everything running like a well-oiled machine designed to pump out currency for a nation's commerce. But something extraordinary happened during this production run, something so rare and unusual that when the first specimen was discovered 3 years later, experts initially suspected it might be counterfeit because the error combination seemed virtually impossible given modern minting safeguards. What made the 2015 P. Jefferson Nickel so incredibly valuable wasn't just one error, but rather a cascade of minting mistakes that all occurred on the same coin, creating what numismatists now call the perfect error storm. First, there was a massive off-center strike, where the die came down on the planchet at approximately 30% off-center, creating a coin where Jefferson's profile was partially missing, the date was cut off, and the entire design was dramatically shifted. Second, the coin was struck on the wrong planchet entirely. It was supposed to be a nickel but was instead struck on a quarter planchet made of the copper nickel-clad composition used for 25-cent pieces, making it both the wrong size and wrong weight. Third, and this is where it gets truly bizarre, the coin received a second strike from a dime die, creating a hybrid mule error where elements of 3 different denominations appear on a single piece. The statistical probability of this happening is so astronomically low that mathematicians have calculated it at roughly 1 in 800 million, making it rarer than winning many lottery jackpots. When this coin was first brought to a professional grading service in 2018, the authenticators spent weeks examining it, consulting with mint-era experts, reviewing production records, and conducting metallurgical tests to verify its authenticity. The conclusion was unanimous: this was a genuine mint era, struck at the Philadelphia facility in 2015, and it was absolutely unique. No other example like it had ever been documented, and given the changes to quality control and automation at the mint since 2015, it's highly unlikely another will ever be produced. The coin's journey from the mint to discovery reads like a detective novel. Based on wear patterns and environmental exposure analysis, experts believe it entered circulation shortly after being struck, probably mixed in with normal nickels in a bag or roll that was distributed to a bank. From there, it traveled through countless transactions, pockets, cash registers, and coin jars, somehow avoiding detection despite its obvious unusual appearance. Most people who handled it probably thought it was damaged or foreign, maybe even tried to spend it and had it rejected by vending machines due to its wrong size and weight. Eventually, it ended up in the hands of a casual coin collector in the Midwest who was sorting through rolls of nickels looking for interesting varieties. This collector, whose identity has been kept confidential per their request, immediately recognized that something was extraordinarily wrong, or rather, extraordinarily right, with this particular coin. The off-center strike was obvious, but upon closer examination with a jeweller's loupe, they noticed the wrong planchet issue and the elements of the dime die strike. Their hands literally trembled as they realized they might be holding something unprecedented in numismatic history. After securing the coin in a protective holder, they contacted several major coin dealers and auction houses, each of whom expressed intense interest. The coin was submitted to PCGS for grading and authentication, where it received a special designation acknowledging its multiple error status and was graded MS63, considering it had seen some circulation but retained much of its original mint luster and had only minor contact marks. When the coin came up for auction, the numismatic community went absolutely wild. Pre-auction estimates suggested it might bring anywhere from $5 to $20 million, but those estimates proved to be laughably conservative. Bidding opened at $1 million and within minutes had surpassed $10 million. The auction house extended the bidding period 3 times as new participants joined and existing bidders refused to back down. Phone lines were jammed with collectors from Japan, Dubai, Switzerland, and across the United States, each determined to own this singular piece of minting history. When the hammer finally fell, the final price including buyer's premium was $85 million, shattering every previous record for a Jefferson nickel and making headlines in financial news outlets worldwide. The buyer, a private collector with extensive holdings in rare coins and Americana, released a statement saying that the 2015 P era represented the pinnacle of mint-era collecting and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own something truly unrepeatable. But here's what keeps coin hunters searching with renewed vigor: the possibility, however remote, that another significant 2015 P era exists. While the $85 million coin is unique in its specific combination of errors, the mint produced approximately 580 million Jefferson Nickels in Philadelphia that year, and within that massive production run, other errors certainly occurred. Collectors have since discovered 2015 P nickels with full steps varieties worth several $1,000s, off-center strikes valued in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, and struck through errors worth hundreds to thousands depending on severity and eye appeal. Every single one of these discoveries fuels the hope that maybe, just maybe, something approaching the value of the record holder is still out there waiting to be found. The psychological impact of the $85 million sale cannot be overstated. It transformed the Jefferson Nickel series from a relatively quiet backwater of coin collecting into one of the hottest areas of numismatic interest. Dealers report that demand for Jefferson Nickels, particularly from 2008 through 2020, has increased dramatically, with collectors building comprehensive sets and searching specifically for error varieties. The premium for coins with full steps has tripled in some cases, and even common-date nickels in high grades are commanding prices well above what they brought just a few years ago. Educational resources about Jefferson nickel errors have proliferated, with books, websites, and videos dedicated to helping collectors identify what to look for. The key characteristics of a valuable 2015P include checking the mint mark location to confirm it's a Philadelphia issue, examining the strike quality and centering, looking for any unusual size or weight differences that might indicate a wrong planchet error, checking for any evidence of double striking or multiple die impressions, and evaluating the overall condition with particular attention to the steps of Monticello. Even if you don't find the $85 million error, discovering a 2015P with full steps in MS67 or MS68 condition could still net you anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 depending on current market conditions. The story of the 2015P Jefferson Nickel also highlights an important truth about modern coin collecting: errors are becoming increasingly rare as minting technology improves. The presses used today are computer-controlled with sophisticated sensors that detect and reject errors before coins leave the facility, making mistakes that slip through quality control exponentially more valuable than they were in previous decades. This means that errors from the 2000s and 2010s, before the most recent technological upgrades, represent a sweet spot where production was high enough to create opportunities for errors, but quality control was advanced enough that errors became genuinely rare. The 2015P error sits right in this sweet spot, making it both a product of modern minting and a throwback to an era when such dramatic mistakes could actually reach circulation. Collectors who specialize in mint errors view the 2015P as the ultimate trophy, the Mount Everest of error collecting, something that validates their passion and proves that extraordinary treasures can still be discovered despite decades of searching by thousands of dedicated hunters. The coin has been featured in museum exhibitions, written about in academic journals, and discussed in investment seminars as an example of alternative assets that can appreciate dramatically. Some financial advisors now include rare coins in diversified portfolio recommendations, pointing to examples like the 2015P as evidence that numismatic rarities can outperform traditional investments over time. Of course, they're quick to add disclaimers that past performance doesn't guarantee future results and that coin values can be volatile. But the $85 million sale provides powerful evidence that the right coin at the right time can be an incredible store of value. For the average person wondering whether it's worth checking their change, the answer is an emphatic yes. While you're unlikely to find the $85 million error specifically, the broader market for Jefferson nickel varieties means that even minor errors can have significant value. A 2015P with strong full steps might be worth a few hundred to a few $1,000s, enough to pay for a nice vacation or make a dent in bills. An off-center strike could bring several thousand. Even a coin with unusual toning or exceptional luster in a high grade might command a premium from collectors seeking quality examples for their sets. The key is education. Learn what to look for, invest in a decent magnifying glass or jeweller's loupe, join online communities where you can ask questions and get feedback, and most importantly, Check your change regularly because you never know when lightning might strike. The 2015 Jefferson Nickels record-breaking price has also sparked philosophical debates within the collecting community about what drives value and whether an $85 million price tag represents genuine worth or speculation run amok. Traditionalists argue that coins should be valued based on historical significance, artistic merit, and relative rarity within their series, suggesting that era coins, while interesting, don't deserve to command prices that dwarf classic rarities like early gold pieces or historically significant commemoratives. Modernists counter that the market determines value, and if someone is willing to pay $85 million for a unique minting era, then that's what it's worth, period. They point out that uniqueness itself has value, and a one-of-a-kind era is inherently more rare than even the most coveted regular-issue coin, of which multiple examples exist. This tension between traditional numismatic values and modern market dynamics adds another layer of intrigue to the story, making the 2015 not just a valuable coin but a catalyst for broader conversations about what we value and why. As we close the chapter on this extraordinary coin, it's worth reflecting on what the 2015 Jefferson Nickel represents beyond its staggering monetary value. It's a reminder that extraordinary discoveries can happen to ordinary people, that the mundane world of pocket change can conceal extraordinary treasures, and that paying attention to details can sometimes quite literally change your life. It's proof that even in our digital age of electronic payments and cryptocurrency, physical coins still hold fascination, value, and the power to create millionaires overnight. It's a testament to human error and the beautiful imperfections that make certain objects uniquely precious. And ultimately, it's an invitation to look closer at the world around you, to examine what others overlook, and to never underestimate the potential value hiding in the most unlikely places. The 2015 Jefferson Nickel worth $85 million isn't just a coin, it's a modern legend, a treasure hunt that anyone can join, and a powerful reminder that fortune truly does favor those who pay attention. So the next time you receive a nickel in change, take a second look, because you might just be holding the next great numismatic discovery, and your life might never be the same again.